Hey, what's going on guys? Welcome back to our YouTube channel. This is John from Programming Knowledge, and in this video guys, we're going to discuss another type of loop, which is the do while. So from the previous tutorial, we already have discussed the while loop, okay, and then we implemented a simple iteration program where we could see the value of the variable each of the iteration of our while loop. Now the difference between while loop and do while is that the while loop will try to evaluate first the condition, and then if this condition is returned true, then it will execute the statement inside this particular while loop. Whereas when we are trying to use the do while loop, then the statements inside the loop will execute at least once before the condition is being evaluated. So the syntax for that is like this. We'll just remove this for now. All these lines of the while loop from the previous tutorial. Okay, so this is the format or basic format of the do while statement or do while loop in C. So basically we have the do keyword and then open and close curly braces and then the statements or group of statements. Okay, now after the curly braces, then it will have the while keyword and then open and close parenthesis with the condition inside it. So as I've said earlier guys, that this particular loop will try to execute at least once before the condition is being evaluated. Okay, so as you can see, if you wanna like execute first some statements before you could evaluate the condition, so the do while loop is the way to go. So we will try to create another program guys showcasing how this particular do while statement or do while loop looks like or how it works. So basically guys, we could initialize some variables here. So for example, the n, so int n equals 1, and then we could also declare another variable which is times. So basically what we are doing here or what we're declaring here is two variables for our do while, and the n represents the number, or I mean the value of the iteration or the value of the variable each iteration, and then of course the times is the number of times the loop should execute. Okay, now inside our do while or do statement, we could add a printf statement here, and then could say C do while loops, and then the format specifier %d \n, and of course the n variable. Okay, so we have this printf statement. So basically what we're trying here is we're trying to display the value of n every execution of this particular statements. Okay, and in here below this printf statement, we could increment the n by using this statement n equals n plus 1, or you could simply use the n plus plus version of this particular statement. So n equals n plus 1. So again, every iteration we would try to increment the value of our n plus 1, and then inside here the while and then open close parenthesis, we could add the condition. So for our condition, you could add the n and then less than or equal to the number of times we want this while loop or do while to be executed. Okay, so I think that's all for this do while statement. So we could try to run our program and then build and run and see how this particular program works. Okay, So basically guys, I will try to explain it to you how this or how we got this output. So from the initial value of our n, we have um executed the do statement right here. So we printed out like the value is c do while loops, then %t, and then the value of our n is 1. Okay, so after this iteration, we increment the value of our n by 1. So that's n equals n plus 2. Okay, or I mean 1, n plus 1, and then the semicolon. And then, of course, we will try to evaluate this in our condition. So 2 is less than or equal to times, which is 5. So, of course, 2 is less than 5. So that makes sense. And then it will try to execute the statements inside the this curly braces. Okay. Then printf c do while loops, and then of course it will try to output the value 2. Okay, after this, the n will be incremented again by 1. So n equals n plus 1. So the value now, or the n value now, becomes 3. And then evaluate it in our open and close parentheses. So 3 less than or equal to 5. So obviously 3 is less than 5. So it will try to implement or execute again the statement inside our curly braces, and then display 3. This will be the line 3. And then of course it will increment again the value n, and the n becomes 4 now, and then evaluated once again is 4 less than or equal to 5. So basically 4 is less than 5. So it will execute the statement printf again, display the value 4, and then increment again the n. It becomes 5, and then after that it will try to evaluate the statement is less, or n is less than equal to 5. So we have set now the value to 5. So 5 is equal to 5. So it will try to execute the statement once again, and the 5 value now becomes, or the n value now becomes 6, because we try to increment it here. So 6 will be evaluated inside our while statement. Then 6 is less than or equal to 5. So that's basically not true, because of course obviously 6 cannot be less than, or cannot even be equal to 5. So that's why it will try to end the loop, because the condition returns false already. Okay, so that's how the do while statement works. And guys, make sure that there's like a finite end of your loop, because there are cases that the condition will not be evaluated into false at some point in our program, so that will make it like the infinite loop. So the concept of infinite loop. So be careful to place a condition here that will try to, or like will be evaluated false at some point in our program, because you don't want to have the infinite loop, because the program will run infinitely, and you don't want that. It would consume the memory of your computer. So that's why you need to be careful with the infinite loop. So make sure again to add a condition that will be evaluated as false at some point in your program. So guys, if you have more questions about doing do while, please comment down below, so I am happy to answer your questions. And guys, in the next video we're going to try to implement the for loops, the another type of loop in C. Okay, so I think that's it guys for this video, and see you in the next video.